Am I the asshole for canceling the family vacation because my husband gave our kids tickets to his widowed cousin's kids? Me, female 33, and my husband Chris, male 36, planned a one-week vacation to an out-of-state ski resort with our 2 kids. His cousin Martin, male 38, lost his wife to cancer 6 months ago. She left behind 2 kids nearly same age as my kids, 6 and 9. My husband is devastated for his best friend's loss. They're so close that he sees him as a friend, understandably so. He tries to help Martin and kids. But in my opinion, he's been doing a little too much for them lately. He suggested we take Martin's kids with us to the resort to get their mind off the grief a bit. I apologized and said it wouldn't since we barely have budget to cover for our kids. He insisted, then tried offering compromises, but I still said it wouldn't work. He was obviously pissed but dropped it eventually. 2 days before the trip, I found out that my husband booked 2 tickets for Martin's kids instead of our own kids. I was the one paying, but he insisted on handling THD booking and making reservations. I was stunned. I called him out on it and he apologetically talked about how Martin needs some alone time away from the kids, how the kids need a breather, and how they need this vacation more than our kids do. I flipped out at him, asking if he's seriously okay with prioritizing others' kids over his own. He said it wasn't about priorities but doing what's needed to help those kids out. I asked how his own kids will react once they find out, but he said, I'm sure they'd understand. I said no and decided to cancel the vacation altogether. He freaked out on me, saying I can't do that and make him look small in front of his cousin and family since they praised him for this nice gesture. I refused to negotiate it, but he called me horribly selfish and cruel towards grieving kids and said that he'll make sure our own kids know how I'm behaving towards the other kids by robbing them of the fun they so much need and deserve. We haven't been talking and he's so pissed and keeps throwing a fit after a fit about it, claiming I ruined it for everybody when I canceled. I feel bad for the kids, I do, but I don't think what he did was right. AITA for canceling? Tell your husband to stay home with his cousin's kids while you take your kids on the vacation. Don't cancel your plans on account of your husband's need to feel like the hero. He is free to have his cousin's kids for that week at your home so his cousin can have some alone time. And you can go away on your planned vacation with your children. Everybody wins. Not the asshole. This is gold. It is actually a compromise. If the husband's true goal is to give everyone a breather, this accomplishes said goal beautifully. Honestly, it makes sense. The husband won't even have an argument, she would be merely agreeing with his reasoning and giving him a way to do what he intended to do. And that way her kids don't miss out on the planned holiday either. She could even play up how much of a kind gesture it was for him to offer to take care of the cousin's kids for that week, and that it was such a shame he was going to miss out on their holiday plans, but stress it's such a beautiful thing he is doing for his cousin. Tell him they will miss him, but he can always come on the next family vacation. Then pack and leave, the end. The problem is she won't be around to take care of the kids, which was probably his actual plan. I doubt he would have taken primary care of the kids on the trip. Not enough information. In your husband's mind, what were your kids supposed to be doing while you and he were on vacation with his cousin's kids? I'd like to know as well, and just how he was going to spin it so his kids would be happy that daddy kicked them to the curb for their cousins. And at 2 days' notice before they went? Was he going to pack them into the car and tell them that they're staying with friends, relatives, while he and original poster took the other kids on a vacation that his own kids had been looking forward to? He was planning on making himself scarce and leaving original poster to explain it to their kids. Greater than make him look small, that'd just be truth in advertising. Not the asshole and X200B. Greater than he'll make sure our own kids know how I'm behaving towards the other kids. It's time to speak to a divorce attorney, if he's going to try and weaponize your own children against you like that. And let's not forget that the use of original poster's money for other purposes as theft. I don't know if it is legally due to communal property laws, but it certainly is in spirit. Info. What exactly is his plan for his own kids? At this point, I would take your kids and let him find something to do with the grieving kids. I get the gesture, but it's in addition to, not in place of. Yeah, she was paying for the whole thing too. Nowhere in the post does it say he was willing to cover the cost of his cousin's kids himself. He initially wanted her to cover the 2 extra kids with no apparent contribution from him. When she said no, he essentially scammed her. I think by canceling their kids' tickets and purchasing for the cousins, he probably believed she'd just buy their children's tickets. He was trying to pull a fast one and it didn't play out the way he anticipated. I think he expected she'd have to stay home with their kids, and he planned to take the cousin. Not the asshole. What was his plan for caretaking of your kids during the vacation? Dog crate. They need room to exercise. What about an outdoor kennel? Not enough information. I don't really understand what's going on here. Did your husband expect you two to take Martin's kids on the trip and leave your own kids at home alone while you were away? What exactly was his plan? Yeah. This story feels a tad unbelievable to me because of that. Almost literally the last 5 or 6 stories I've read here all sound so over the top, obviously assholish, that me thinks the trolls and karma whores are having a field day. Not the asshole. This isn't about him actually caring for his friends' kids. He is using them to look like a big man and charitable. If he was either one of those things, he would have used his own money. This is about his image. My thoughts exactly. He wants to be seen as this charitable person. Right. He made that very clear with his but everyone is praising me BS. Not the asshole, but I'm super curious what he was planning on doing with your children while their 2 parents were off holidaying with the second cousins. I can see the children in a few years publishing, "Am I the asshole for not talking more with my father who always put the needs of his nephews before those of his own children?" Not the asshole. That guy totally used your money for other kids than your own. He prioritized others than your family. Why are you with him again? My own father did something like this. Prioritizing others than us. Paid tuition of other people. Took care of other people except his own family and children. Our own mother had to work overseas so we could study since our father had other priorities. We literally grew up like we did not have parents. Think about everything your husband has done for your family and if he will ever prioritize your family. If the answer is no, think if this will be good for your kids and their future. Good luck, original poster. Not the asshole. Your kids are young. They wouldn't understand. They would feel rejected by their father and replaced by their cousins. I'm sure they'd understand. Yes, because 6 and 9-year-old children are notoriously good at removing their emotions from a situation and responding logically. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It was supposed to be a family vacation for your immediate family. I understand that your husband is being empathetic and doing his best to support his cousin, but this wasn't how to do it. Makes me wonder if Martin is truly the father of those 2 children. It wouldn't be the first time. Your husband is Tahir, not you. And number 6 and 9 years old wouldn't understand why their parents took different kids on a family vacation and left them behind. There's an interesting thought. It does seem like there's a missing piece to all this. There are other ways to help your friend and his kids besides taking away your own kid's vacation. Why was he so desperate to do that? Not the asshole. Your husband is way out of line. The fact he's helping his widowed cousin is not relevant here. The key fact is that he cannot make major decisions about family holidays unilaterally like that. If he wants his niece, nephew to come skiing and you can't afford it, then the cousin needs to pay. Also, the way he threatened to make you look like the bad guy in front of your own kids for sticking up for them shows how manipulative he is. Not the asshole. You didn't ruin it for everybody. He did that when he unilaterally decided to eject your children from the family vacation. And given their ages, he either ejected you, too, or put you in the position where you have the added expense of paying for their childcare while you're gone. I understand he wants to help his cousin, but he seriously overstepped here. Overstepped? More like parkour across rooftops in Manhattan. Not the asshole. Let him be generous and do nice gestures with his own money. Not the asshole. I get your husband feels terrible for what his friend is going through, but taking other kids on holiday without yours is just odd. He's spending your money to do it too. He doesn't get to do that without factoring in your opinion also who would be looking after your kids while you're on holiday with these other children. Not the asshole, and your husband needs to get his priorities straight. Also, he's dead wrong that your kids would get over it. I was left out of a trip for much the same reason when I was 9. I'm 63 now and it still hurts to this day. It's a horrible feeling knowing your dad values another kid's feelings over his own son's. I was on a family trip with my mom, sister, brother and cousin. My mom was still pissed that 13-year-old me betrayed her by telling the judge I would rather live with my dad than her after she kicked me out. Should note she did it on Thanksgiving morning because no one did the dishes. So she treated me like I was a tag-along kid, rather than her own. That was 30 years ago and I still remember. You're absolutely right, dear, we do need to help your cousin. So I'm canceling the ski trip and we can watch the kids at home that week and do some fun stuff with them instead. And then make sure his ass stays there with you and actually helps those kids. Not the asshole. Not the asshole greater than said that he'll make sure our own kids know how I'm behaving towards the other kids by robbing them of the fun they so much need and deserve. That has to be shut down ASAP. He wants to guilt young children into believing their own excitement about a family vacation as someone inappropriate because a cousin died. You said he's been helping this family more to the extent of hurting his own. It is about priorities, and if your husband doesn't take a breather from his caretaking duties, he could end up divorced like the brother in this post. Either of you have an EAP at work or can find a therapist you can afford. Some have sliding scale fees. You probably want to get your husband to some couples or family counseling ASAP. And advise Martin to get some family grief counseling of his own. Not the asshole that is completely inconsiderate of your husband to go behind your back and do that. It makes absolutely no sense to cut his children out of a family vacation and take someone else's children. There are other ways to help the grieving family heal.